Good morning. Welcome to Sacred Enzyme. I'm Stacy. I hope you're doing well today. Today I want to explore a little bit more information that I've been studying on the teachings of Ashiana Dean, but also I want to start exploring another person that I've been doing some research on. And it's a gentleman. His name is Stuart Swerdlow. And he has had an amazing experience. He's a survivor of the MK Ultra programs, the Montauk program to be exact. And his genetic profile is interesting because he, I think he must be Ashkenazi Jew, Proto-Hebrew. And because he has a lot of activated DNA strands. And he's very psychic, and he'd been gifted with pretty much second sight since he was born. But, he had a terrifying childhood because he was constantly being abducted by these extra-dimensional beings, or interdimensional, extraterrestrial. I mean, I think he got the whole gamut. It was on-world and off-world. And and he survived. And he's a whistleblower. So he has some really interesting stuff, and it kind of blends together with the Ashiana Dean teachings, except there are some things that I've noticed that are different. He says that you can't update your DNA strands. So, I mean, maybe he means that you can't update them because you can't add to them, but you can activate the ones that you have that are dormant. Okay, so let's not get that wrong. So I want to talk about how everything, we have all this symbolism with the light and the dark, and the light and the dark, because I hear a lot of people talking about, love and light, love and light, love and light, love and light. But, we have to also understand that we have to embrace our shadow side. All that has to be incorporated. The bringing together of the masculine and the feminine means bringing your shadow aspects of yourself back together, it's about a merging of all of your different versions of yourself that are in the universes. And so on the particle Earth, we talked about in the last video that, and a couple of them before that, is that there are 1,728 versions of you from your God source, your soul collective. There are 1,728 versions of me, all out everywhere, in the places you see, the places you don't see. Okay, and so 864 of me is in this particle Earth, and 864 is in the anti-particle Earth. This is the shadow aspect of our planet. Okay? Everything has light and dark. And it's all about balance and moderation. It's definitely, this is what it's all about. It's all about balance and moderation. Because you have to get the gray area. Right? You ever see people say, oh, I only see things in black and white. And some people say, well, we have to explore the gray area. We need to explore the gray area. And, the interesting thing that Stuart Swerdlow also talked about was he talked about a lot about Germany and Nazi Germany. And, we talked about this a couple months ago about how these beings from Aldebaran, I mean, they say it a couple different ways. There's a lot of people say it 3 different ways, but Aldebaran was the extraterrestrial group that was feeding this technology knowledge to the Germans before the World War. And then they broke off, and Germany split into 2 groups. You had this war group that was Nazi, and then you had this German patriotism. It was basically like the shadow government kind of stuff. Then you had, you had Hitler. He got away. He had all of this UFO technology that he had gotten from Aldebaran. And so that's when they went to Antarctica, the South Pole, and they have a base there. And they've been there for a long, long time. And they're going to have the Fourth Reich. And, they set up for the Fourth Reich. It's all over. It's in the Atlantic Ocean. It's down in South America. There's places all over the place. But one of the things he did mention was he mentioned that off of Long Island that there's an underground base. And he also said, what I thought was interesting, is that he said that one of the largest, if not the largest one, underground extraterrestrial or shadow government or all-encompassed type thing is under West Virginia. That almost everything under West Virginia is completely hollow. I was like, what? So, this might start bringing into perspective the whole North Carolina thing. Is that we need to look at this. We need to start studying this more. I think it might be about what's underground. They're trying to get rid of these people because they're doing stuff underground. So we have a version, 864 versions of ourselves in the antiparticle Earth. And then there's 4 time cycles in a period of 26,566 years. And every 4,622 years, you get an alignment between these harmonic universes, between the particle and the antiparticle universe. They line up. Well, this happened in the year 2000. From 2000 to 2017, we had a time continuum shift where we had the Earth and its antiparticle self were lined up in apparently like in a perfect line where they could exchange. There was an exchange of some sort because it was a time continuum. And you were in an ascension cycle too. So it's kind of like this. You have these grids that go up and down, and you have them that go back and forth. And see this hole right here, this is kind of like what happened when you had the loss of Stargate 12, was because you had a hole blown in the grid. Kind of like what happened with Atlantis and Lemuria, is that these things that they were doing under the ground blew a hole in the fabric of time, of the time matrix. And see, this is what happened to them. And so I think this is where you get all these Mandela effects. I don't know exactly when people started noticing them, but this has to be where it comes from. The antiparticle Earth and the particle Earth lining up, because we're on the particle Earth. And it's interesting how you can change. We can make it. Just goes to show you that we have the ability to change the past and the future at the same time, because time is not linear. It's happening all at one time. All at one time. It's so crazy to even wrap your head around that. But time is happening all at one time. So if you correct things now, you can correct the past and the future. Think about it. So we need to everybody's got to get on board. We all got to get motivated. There's nobody coming to save us. If ETs come down here, I guarantee you that all of them have some kind of agenda. Everybody has an agenda. We just need to be taking care of the human person that we are and the steward of this planet. We need to be doing what we're supposed to be doing. We need to go back to doing things the way we were supposed to be doing and get back to the ways of immersing ourselves in nature. We've gotten too far AI. See, this is what happened to the Greys. These gray aliens, they are actually, from the way that I'm understanding it, is that they're actually time travelers. Because they got stuck. See, their planet, they messed up their planet. And then they were trying to go through time to get back so they could not do what they did that effed them up. So does that make sense? So what ended up happening is, in their attempt to come back, they came back too early. And so they came back in the early 1900s, and these are the ones that got involved with Nazi Germany. And it was this group, and they're actually the ones that are manipulating the shadow government, is the Zetas. And they were the ones that are, I guess they're from Aldebaran, or part of them are from Aldebaran. I'm not sure where they're from. But I know that from listening to Stuart Swidlow and in between his work and Ashiana Dean's, I'm kind of getting the idea here that we have to just look out for ourselves. There's nobody on our side, and people are so brainwashed with religion that they don't realize that Jesus is not some superhero. He's not some superhero that's coming back for us. He came back 2,000 years ago and gave us genetic material to put it back into the population. That's why his seeds were sown to six different racial groups, so everybody would get the upgrade. One of those, everybody get the upgrades faster. Maybe, I don't know, but and we had 6 mothers, and 5 of these children lived to adulthood. So I'd say that's a pretty big chunk of people in this world right now that are, that have gotten upgrades one way or another. I mean, how many years does it take for you to upgrade the DNA of the planet? Really? I don't know. I mean, we've been having downgrades for a long time. So with that, I thought it was really interesting. So what do you think about the Mandela Effect? Do you think that the Mandela Effect could have been caused by the particle Earth and the anti-particle Earth lining up in a time continuum? And because we're in an ascension cycle, where all of the stargates are receiving codes in, and it's a really good time for us to work on ourselves, And maybe that's why it's called the Age of Aquarius, because Aquarius is considered like the motherly goddess. Like the motherly goddess. Oh, and the other thing I thought was interesting is that Stuart Swidlow was talking about the reptilian race, and that these reptilians, they consider themselves perfect because they're androgynous, so they feel like they don't need to change, and that human beings are constantly changing all the time because, we're part mammalian. Part of our DNA came from dolphins, or came from fish type people. Fish beings. And in Atlantis, they were doing all of these experiments, and this is where you get mermaids from, is that they were taking this fish DNA and they were fusing it with hybrids. This is where you get wolfman or werewolves, is from them fusing wolves with human genetics. This is where you get from the way he says it, so where they get Sasquatch, and Ashiana Dean says the same thing, is that they were created by the Anunnaki, and the Anunnaki were the ones that were in they were in Sumeria, but also you had them in Atlantis. So Atlantis was basically a big scientific experiment of chimeras, of putting animals with humans and making all kind of funky stuff. So with that, I'd love to hear what you think about this. I find it pretty interesting. What do you think about the particle, the antiparticle universe? And do you think that that could be what's causing these Mandela effects? So when you come and find me, I'll be here, because we're living the past, present, and future all at the same time. So don't forget to get outside today. Put your feet in the grass and ground to the earth, and give thanks to our Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, Mother Earth. So I hope to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.